I don't like talking about Twitter. I want to make that very clear. Even just saying the word Twitter burns my mouth leaving it. It feels awful, like I'm gargling sewage. But I just can't resist. The platform has become a factory of goofs. It's like Willy Wonka's chocolate factory, but instead of producing candy, it produces the weirdest ideas ever. How can I resist pure, refined silliness like Twitter's decision making process? Every time I swear I'm done talking about Twitter, they announce something that drags me back in. I'm like a drug addict that just keeps falling off the wagon again. They just keep putting the heroin in my veins. But honestly, laughing at Twitter has become a harder drug than anything currently out there. It's baffling. So, I'm sure all of you saw by now, Elon Musk has announced that Twitter is being rebranded as X. Just X. It's not short for anything, it's not part of anything, it's just the single letter, X. And I swear to God, Elon Musk has been more obsessed with the letter X than a pirate looking at a treasure map, because for at least 2 decades now, he's had that on his brain. Apparently, the original name he wanted for PayPal was X.com. And he has squatted on that, looking at it as some kind of nugget of genius for over 2 decades, and he has dusted it off. And right now, X.com currently redirects to Twitter. So I'm guessing that's going to be the new domain, since he recently did buy it back. Now, obviously, X.com looks like a porn site, but I guess that doesn't matter to him because X is just super cool in his eyes, which I think proves that he has to be one of the most uncool people on the planet. Being obsessed with the letter X is like something a 12-year-old on Xbox Live when choosing their gamer tag does. But I will say, in his other company, SpaceX, the X looks good because it's part of something. It's not just X on its own. It is part of something else. So it looks cool. I think SpaceX is a great name. And not only that, he even named his own baby X. Well, at least part of his name is X. It's X and then a random captcha here. I think it's supposed to be like a plane or something, I already forgot. But it's very clear Elon Musk loves the letter X, more so than Xander Cage in the Triple X movies. Like, this is wild. Not only because, obviously, it's very wacky, it's very, very wacky. Like, the dial went from silly all the way to wacky and then kept going, teetering all the way on bonkers territory with this decision. Because Twitter is one of the most recognizable brand names on the planet. One of the most recognizable brands ever, really, probably. And now Elon Musk has executed the bird, getting rid of the bird. It is transitioning over to X now. Here's what the logo looks like. I think it very much looks like something out of the Call of Duty game battle scene from way back in the day. It looks like one of those really quickly put together emblems. But this is the future here. The bird has been put down. Like Elmer Fudd, but instead of hunting rabbits, he was hunting birds here. It's just so weird, because this is going to be the worst SEO ever, X. Like, searching up X is just going to be fucking awful trying to get to where you want to go. It's also just a horrible name in general that just sounds super lame and embarrassing. And it's even weirder considering how Twitter had spawned its own terminology for when you send out short sentences on the platform. They're tweets. They're retweets when you post them back on your page from someone else's page. When you post videos on Twitter, you reference them as Twitter videos. So what a lot of people have pointed out under this change, when you're referencing videos on X, you're going to call them X videos. And those of you who know, X videos is the biggest porn site in the world. So it's going to be real confusing real quick. And also, what's the new term going to be for when you tweet? You're sending an X. Or I'm going to re-X this. Or did you look at my X's. Which is just so fucking embarrassing to say. That's even worse than saying tweet and Twitter and retweet. It's the worst terminology imaginable, if that is the direction they go. I'm still not fully convinced that this is anything more than just a gag from Elon Musk. I feel like this is just one of his classic shitposty things where he thinks it's like enjoyable for some length of time and then he says I'm done playing with this toy and forgets about it. I don't know if he's actually going to do this. It would be a really dumb decision too, because again, you bought one of the most recognizable brands ever, and now you're just completely changing the brand name and brand identity. What's the point? All of the hard work of brand building was done for you. You had the easiest part of the brand building process. It was already a juggernaut of a brand. Why are you going back to try and start over with a new brand and a much worse name and a much worse identity that people are already laughing at? It just doesn't make sense. So I feel like he probably won't actually go through with this if it is an idea he's toying around with. I feel like this is just going to be a short period thing that he's kicking around and maybe goofing a bit with. But I guess we'll see. He's made some inexplicably odd decisions with Twitter so far, so I guess it is possible. Clearly, I don't think this is going to kill Twitter, the platform formerly known as Twitter. I don't think everyone's just going to stop using it because the name is shitty, but it's just such a weird thing to do. It doesn't make any sense. It's such a counterintuitive decision. This isn't going to help it become profitable, which I think is like the main goal right now since it bleeds so much money and is so fucking directionless. This is only going to set it back in that direction because now you're going to have to like repitch all of the major brands on why they should work with X, which again is going to be easily confused for pornography often, which is going to make it very hard to work with other brands, I would think. Let me give you a great example because I have a first-hand account of this. Our esports team is named Moist. That's a bit of an odd word. That's a bit of a yucky word, but that's not even like something that can be conflated to porn easily. It's just one of those words that makes you feel a little icky. It's just one of those words that makes you raise an eyebrow. And just because of that, there have been many brands that don't really want to work with us just because of the name, and solely because of the name. Imagine now with X, a brand name that if you make one typo immediately takes you to porn, is extremely hard to find through just search engine optimization. It's just going to be a hard thing to get across. Brands are probably going to be a little apprehensive about it, I would think. Assuming, of course, the logic carries over and remains consistent, I think X is a significantly harder to sell name than Moist. But that's just me, and of course that's not exactly the most unbiased judgment there. I've definitely got a horse in this race, but it does seem like X is a much worse name for brands to work with. Just going off of basic common sense here. Now, to me, it's still not entirely clear if he's truly committed to removing Twitter and the bird from everything on the platform and really just diving in deep, cannonballing into the X pool and rebranding fully to that entirely. But according to this article and according to a Threads post from platformer managing editor Zoe Scheifer, according to her, she says that Twitter's business was already renamed X Corp, and that he said that their email last night would be the last time he emails them from that company address. It would now be fully X Corp. I didn't know that he had renamed Twitter business on the inside to X Corp. That is so fucking lame. Like, if you're going to do this, just choose a cool name. Like, it really does feel like I'm back on Xbox Live when I was 11 years old going by the name Fast Fighter and playing with my friends that had X's in their names everywhere because they thought it was the coolest shit ever. How the fuck is this an adult man who is this obsessed with just the letter X? I don't get it. If you're going to go through all of these hoops and rebrand Twitter, whatever, choose a cooler name. Like, just choose something that sounds cool or is just better overall. X is so embarrassing. Going on Twitter right now is already shameful enough, and this is just going to make it be even more miserable. Having to say that you went on X and read a couple of X's or saw the videos posted on X or whatever. It's just, it's so dumb. Yeah, I just had to talk about it. I couldn't resist. It's just so weird. It's such a weird decision. That's really about it. See ya.